What's going on, everybody? Daniel with thesmashcake.com. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are talking all about cake hacks to help you have a smoother and more successful smash cake photography session. Now, today's video is all about the birthday cake itself, and there are so many different ways that the cake can go sideways on you. And next to the child themselves, the cake is the next biggest star in that photo shoot. So if the cake goes sideways, chances are your whole shoot will as well. All right, well, let's just go ahead and jump right into today's list with the number one thing that I never do when it comes to birthday cakes. Now, that number one thing that I never do, I never bake the birthday cake at my home. Okay, I don't bake my own birthday cakes. And the reason for that is that there are so many food allergies out there now that you would be opening yourself up to some pretty big potential problems, right? I would hate to be responsible for a little one having an allergic reaction on my set. That would just ruin me. So to avoid all of that, I always use a bakery. And if the parents decide that they want to make the cake, I strongly urge them to find a bakery on their own because, again, Aunt Mabel may make this birthday cake and that child may have an undiagnosed food allergy, and I would hate for that to go down on my set. So that is why I always have the cakes for my smash cake photography sessions made in a commercial kitchen. Now, when I'm dealing with that commercial kitchen, the next thing that I do, of course, is to tell them to cut the sugar by half. This cake is purely a decoration, right? The child does not need to be ingesting a full amount of sugar during the session because, believe it or not, I've had kids that ate damn near the whole cake. And putting that much sugar into a little one is just really not healthy. It's not a good idea. So when you work with that commercial kitchen, the first thing you need to tell them is that this is not to be really eaten. You're gonna smash this cake and it doesn't matter if they cut the sugar by half. Now, the next tip is another instruction for that bakery, and that is to cut the frosting down by half. Now, what people don't realize, because we've been eating sugar our entire adult lives, right? We've been eating sugar since we were little, and we've become accustomed to sugar itself. But what we don't realize is that it is incredibly acidic. And when you're talking about putting all of that acid onto brand new taste buds, what you're gonna end up with is a very unhappy little one. Kids actually don't like the taste of frosting. So if at all possible, what you want to do is you want to make a scraped cake where you put frosting on it, but just a minimal layer and they scrape most of it off, or you want to simply cut the frosting on the cake by half. And when you do that, it's going to go a long way to really making your toddler happier, and it's going to go a long way to creating more and better images in the long run. So cut that sugar by half. Now that you've got that commercially made cake with half the frosting, half the sugar, your first instinct is to go ahead and just jam that sucker right in the fridge, which is fine. But what you need to do is you need to pull that cake about an hour before the photo shoot, because while in the refrigerator, that frosting is getting hard, it is getting brittle, and it's actually really tough for a little one to tear through it when it's super cold. So leave enough time to go ahead and let that frosting thaw out before your photo shoot, rather than just pulling it directly out of the fridge and giving it to the child. You'll have much better results, the frosting will look better on camera, and it will smash a whole lot better. All right, so my next tip is a don't. It's a big don't, and that don't is don't use fondant on a smash cake. All right, it's not frosting. It is a layer of like almost clay that people put over a cake that they use to make really cool decorations. I mean, you can make polka dots, bow ties, you name it, and it looks great on camera, but the reality is that stuff is really hard for a 1-year-old to smash through, and it doesn't smear on their face. It doesn't get between their toes. It's just a layer of clay-like material. So whatever you do, do not allow the bakery that you choose to use fondant on your smash cakes. It will not work out well. Now, my next tip for you is another don't, and that don't is don't make the cake too small or too big. When you make a cake too small, it is underwhelming. It does not appear like anything on camera. You just barely notice it, right? And if you make the cake too big, now the cake is the star of the photo and not the 1-year-old, right? It dwarfs the baby and it just looks odd. So you want to shoot for a sweet spot that is about 6 to 8 inches. That's about the right size, and you don't really ever want to go above 3 layers. Now, my next tip has to do with what if the baby just simply isn't destroying the cake enough, right? What do you do? How do you fix that? And it's very simple. You go ahead and cut a sliver out of that cake and turn it around so the camera can't see that it's missing a piece. And what you've done there is you've created a handhold for chubby little fingers to get in there and start ripping out giant chunks. So if you're not getting enough destruction, go ahead and try that little hack. Now, my next tip has to do with what happens when the baby just doesn't like the cake. Now, after doing years and hundreds of smash cake photography sessions, I can honestly tell you that most kids simply do not like the feeling of frosting between their fingers. They don't want to touch it. This is very, very common. So in that scenario, what are you supposed to do? Well, my hack is very, very simple. I go ahead and have mom and dad bring some snacks from home, some little tiny snacks, usually goldfish crackers, and we just stuff them in the frosting. We hide them from view of the camera, and we bury them in so the baby can see them. And we let the baby watch us stuff them in. And what happens is they go ahead and they go and retrieve that snack that they already know that they love. This gives the appearance that these little guys are engaged in the cake and they're enjoying the cake, when in fact, they really want nothing to do with it. So if the baby is not engaging with that cake, if they can't stand it, hide their favorite snack in there and it will completely change the game for you. All right, so you went ahead and hid the goldfish crackers in the frosting and the kid is still not going for it. What do? How do you get that child re-engaged with the cake? Well, how do you create smash cake images? And the simple answer is you fake it, right? You fake the destruction, right? We go ahead and have mom tear off little chunks of the cake and we smear it around the baby's mouth and we smear it on their toes and on their fingers and we create some beautiful smash cake imagery, even though we kind of had to fake the destruction. Now, at the end of the day, mom's just looking for beautiful pictures of her child to document the fact that, well, their baby turned 1, and I've never had anybody complain about the fact that we had to fake the destruction. And this is a very common occurrence. We do it at least once a month. So go ahead and give that a shot. If the child just simply isn't going for the cake, it may be the only way to create those images that mom and dad are looking for. Now, if there are a couple of cake hacks or tricks that I did not mention in today's video, please feel free to mention them in the comments section down below because, well, this channel is all about helping other photographers and sharing information. So go ahead and share your trick down below. And with that, we have hit the end of the video, and it's about time for me to serve you up another video in this neighborhood here. Just wait for them to pop up, and you can keep on keeping on learning about smash cake photography. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I'm Daniel Troutman. It's been a blast, and I hope you have a great day.